All right, we're about to tackle one of the absolute strangest ideas in all of modern physics. It's a concept from a true giant of the field that really forces you to rethink what reality even is. And it all comes down to one simple but seriously profound question.
Yeah, what if the universe is watching itself? What if the simple act of observation isn't just something we do, but is somehow essential to the universe's own existence? It's a truly wild thought, and the physicist who came up with it, John Wheeler, actually captured this whole cosmic feedback loop in a single, kind of bizarre sketch. And this is it. This is the diagram at the very heart of this idea. It's super simple, right? It's a big letter U for universe with an eye on one end that's looking all the way back to its own beginning. Now, I know it might look like a doodle, but it actually represents a revolutionary idea about how our reality might actually work.
So, where in the world did this strange drawing come from? Well, to get it, you first have to understand the brilliant and very credible mind that created it in the first place.
Look, this isn't some fringe science fiction. This theory comes from John Wheeler. And if that name rings a bell, it should. This guy was an absolute titan of physics. He worked with Einstein, he worked with Bohr, and oh yeah, he's the guy who coined the term black hole. So when someone like Wheeler proposes an idea, no matter how out there it seems, the scientific world sits up and listens.
So, Wheeler first dropped this bombshell of an idea way back in 1979. It was in a paper with the perfect title, Beyond the Black Hole. You can tell he was really trying to push past the known boundaries of physics to imagine what comes next. And what he was imagining was this: the universe as a self-excited circuit. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the actual concept behind it becomes surprisingly clear once we break down what that drawing really means. Okay, so what is a self-excited circuit? Well, it's a system that basically brings itself into being. It generates its own reality through a kind of feedback loop. In this model, the universe isn't just some static stage where things happen. No, it's an active participant in its own creation story. Let's really decode this thing. So that big curve of the U, that's the whole timeline of the universe, from the Big Bang all the way to now. And the I at the end of the U, well, that's us. That's any conscious observer. And what's the I looking at? It's looking back to the beginning, observing the information from the universe's own past. Wheeler even came up with a special word for this whole setup. He called it infocognitive, a mashup of information and cognition. The idea is that reality isn't just one or the other. It's a partnership, a marriage of the two. The universe provides the raw information, and we, the observers, provide the cognition that makes it real. And this wasn't just some quirky little thought experiment he had one afternoon. For Wheeler, this diagram was the absolute cornerstone of a much, much bigger project, a whole new program for how we should understand reality itself. In his own words, it was a preliminary but well-considered program. This wasn't just a hunch. He was seriously trying to lay the groundwork for a completely new model of the cosmos, one where the observer is no longer just a passive bystander on the sidelines. The self-excited circuit was actually just one piece of a much larger intellectual puzzle. It fits right in with his other mind-bending concepts, like the participatory universe, law without law, and maybe his most famous idea of all, it from bit, the theory that at the very bottom, everything in the universe is made of information. Okay, so how does a universe that observes itself actually work? I mean, what are the mechanics? Wheeler said that for any of this to be possible, reality has to play by two brand new, pretty radical rules. And let me be clear, we're not talking about some minor tweaks to the physics we already know. These are fundamental, game-changing shifts in our understanding, features that you just won't find in any other mainstream model of the universe. All right, here they are. Rule number 1 is self-recognition. This is the idea that perception, the very act of observing, is literally a part of the universe's mechanism for recognizing itself. And rule number 2 is matter as information. This is the idea that a rock, a star, you, me, all of it, at its most fundamental level, is information. So what happens when you combine these two wild ideas? Well, Wheeler saw it as nothing less than a cosmological extension of cybernetics. Now, cybernetics is just the science of feedback loops and information systems. So what he was really proposing is that the entire cosmos operates like one gigantic, self-regulating computer. So let's try to bring this all together. What does this actually mean for us, the observers living inside this giant U? Well,
It could mean that we have a far, far more important role in the universe than we ever imagined. Let's walk through it step by step. 1. The universe starts out as just a fuzzy cloud of quantum possibilities. 2. Over billions and billions of years, life and consciousness, an observer, evolves. 3. That observer looks out and measures the universe, gathering information about its past. And 4. That very act of observation makes the universe snap from pure possibility into a single, concrete, definite reality. So you see, it all comes down to this beautiful, totally paradoxical loop. The universe gives rise to us, the observers, and then we, by observing it, give reality to the universe. It's a completely self-contained, self-sustaining, self-excited circuit. And this leaves us with a final, massive question that this whole theory forces us to ask. If our observation is what makes reality solid and real, what is the universe when no one's looking? Is it just this shimmering field of maybes and what-ifs, just waiting for an eye to open? It's a question that honestly challenges the very definition of what it means to exist.